The year was 1984. Long Island, New York stood as a picture of suburban tranquility. Yet beneath the surface, a sinister current ran. Ricky Kasso, a troubled 17-year-old, would soon expose the darkness lurking beneath. His crime, a gruesome murder, would shock the community and captivate the nation. The victim? His friend, Gary Lauwers. Kassoâ was known to some as the Acid King. This moniker hinted at his descent into a world of hallucinogens and the occult. His journey into darkness was fueled by LSD, a drug that warped his reality and twisted his thoughts. This potent concoction of chemicals and inner turmoil would culminate in a horrific act of violence. The murder of Gary Lauwers sent shockwaves through the community. It was a crime that defied explanation, a brutal act that seemed ripped from the pages of a horror novel. The details, as they slowly emerged, painted a picture of a mind consumed by darkness, a mind under the influence of something sinister. Ricky Kasso was a troubled youth, drawn to the fringes of society. He sought refuge in a world of heavy metal music, illicit substances, and the occult. His group of friends mirrored his own darkness. They were drawn to the allure of the unknown, the thrill of dabbling in the forbidden. LSD became their escape, a portal to altered states of consciousness. With each hit, reality became more fluid, their inhibitions dissolving into the haze. Kasso, in particular, seemed to unravel under the drug's influence. His behavior grew erratic, marked by sudden bursts of anger and paranoia. Kasso proclaimed himself the Acid King, a title that reflected his growing obsession with the drug and its power over his mind. He reveled in the fear his title inspired, using it to assert dominance over his peers. The lines between reality and delusion blurred. His grip on sanity slipped further with each passing day. As Kasso's LSD use escalated, so too did his fascination with the occult. He began to dabble in Satanism, drawn to its dark rituals and promises of power. He devoured books on demonology and the black arts, his mind becoming a breeding ground for twisted ideologies. To his drug-addled mind, the lines between reality and fantasy blurred. Kasso convinced himself and his followers that he was a messenger of the devil. He claimed to have made a pact with Satan himself, granting him supernatural abilities and a mandate to spread chaos. His followers, lost in a haze of drugs and fear, believed his every word. His pronouncements grew increasingly bizarre and threatening. He spoke of sacrifices that needed to be made, of blood that must be spilled to appease the dark forces he claimed to command. The group's activities took on a more sinister tone. Animal sacrifices, fueled by Kasso's twisted interpretations of satanic rituals, became commonplace. The group spiraled deeper into a vortex of delusion and depravity, a harbinger of the horrors to come. On a fateful night in June 1984, Ricky Kasso lured his friend, Gary Lauwers, into the woods near their homes. Under the cover of darkness, Kasso's twisted fantasies took a terrifying turn. The woods, once a place of solace and play, became a stage for a gruesome and ritualistic murder. Lauwers, perhaps unaware of the danger he was in, followed willingly, his trust in Kasso misplaced. The details of that night are shrouded in darkness and the conflicting accounts of drug-induced haze. What is known is that Kasso, fueled by LSD and his self-proclaimed satanic mission, attacked Lauwers with a brutal ferocity. Lauwers was stabbed repeatedly, over 20 times, his cries for mercy swallowed by the night. As he lay dying, Kasso forced him to say, "I love Satan." This act, Kasso believed, solidified his pact with the devil and sealed Lauwers' fate. The murder was more than just an act of violence. It was, in Kasso's mind, a sacrifice, a testament to his devotion to the dark forces he believed he served. Section 5. Justice and the Echoes of Evil. The disappearance of Gary Lauwers sent ripples of fear and uncertainty through the community. Days turned into agonizing weeks as his family clung to hope. The discovery of his mutilated body in the woods shattered their world. The tranquility of Long Island was, well, irrevocably broken. Suspicion quickly fell on Ricky Kasso. His erratic behavior, his fascination with the occult, and his claims of being the Acid King made him a prime suspect. When questioned by police, Kasso confessed to the murder. His confession, delivered with a chilling calmness, sent shockwaves through the community. Kasso's arrest and subsequent confession sent the media into a frenzy. The story had all the elements of a tabloid sensation: drugs, Satanism, and a brutal murder. Reporters descended upon Long Island, eager to unravel the mystery and exploit the tragedy for headlines. The case became a national obsession. Section 6. The Trial of the Acid King. The trial of Ricky Kasso was a media spectacle, captivating and horrifying the nation. The prosecution presented a case that painted Kasso as a cold-blooded killer, driven by his obsession with the occult and fueled by LSD. They argued that he had planned Lauer's murder as a sacrifice to Satan, a chilling testament to his descent into madness. The defense countered by arguing that Kasso was insane, his mind ravaged by LSD and his actions driven by delusions. They argued that he was not in control of his faculties at the time of the murder, a victim of his own drug-induced psychosis. The jury listened intently as witnesses recounted Kasso's erratic behavior, his fascination with Satanism, and his chilling confession. The courtroom became a battleground for differing narratives, one of a calculated killer and another of a young man lost in the throes of drug-induced madness. Section 7. Unmasking the 1980s, a darker shade of youth. The Kasso case, with its lurid details and shocking violence, forced America to confront the darker undercurrents of its youth culture. The 1980s, often portrayed as a decade of excess and optimism, had a shadow side. Heavy metal music, with its dark themes and often satanic imagery, became a scapegoat. Parents, terrified by the Kasso case, saw heavy metal as a corrupting influence on their children. The case fueled a moral panic, with politicians and religious leaders alike decrying the dangers of satanic cults and the evils of heavy metal music. The Kasso case exposed the anxieties of a generation grappling with rapid social change and the perceived erosion of traditional values. It was a stark reminder that even in the seemingly idyllic suburbs, darkness could lurk beneath the surface. Section 8. The Devil Made Me Do It, examining the role of satanic panic. The Ricky Kasso case coincided with a period in American history known as the Satanic Panic. This period, spanning the 1980s and early 1990s, was marked by widespread fear and paranoia about the supposed rise of satanic cults. Fueled by media sensationalism and a lack of critical examination, the Satanic Panic led to numerous false accusations, miscarriages of justice, and a climate of fear. The Kasso case, with its themes of Satanism and ritualistic murder, played into the pre-existing fears of the time. Kasso's claims of being a messenger of Satan and his talk of sacrifices resonated with a public already primed to believe in the existence of such evil. While Kasso's crimes were undeniably real and horrific, the Satanic Panic provided a distorted lens through which to view them. It allowed people to project their fears onto a convenient scapegoat, ignoring the complexities of mental illness, drug abuse, and the very real darkness that can reside within the human heart. Section 9. A Legacy of Darkness, the enduring fascination with the Acid King. Ricky Kasso's reign of terror was short-lived. He committed suicide in his jail cell just 2 months after his arrest. Despite his death, his case continues to fascinate and disturb. The brutal nature of the crime, the influence of LSD, and the specter of Satanism make it a case study in depravity and the dark side of human nature. The case continues to be a source of debate and discussion. Some view Kasso as a monster, a product of his own evil desires. Others see him as a deeply disturbed young man, his mind ravaged by drugs and his actions driven by delusions. The legacy of the Acid King is a haunting reminder of the power of the human mind to both create and succumb to darkness. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of drug abuse, the seductive allure of the occult, and the very real monsters that can lurk within seemingly ordinary individuals. The case remains a chilling testament to the darkness that can reside within the human heart, a darkness that continues to fascinate and repel us in equal measure.